Hi there, welcome to this session on Introduction to IntelliJ IDEA. This session will help you become more productive in using IntelliJ IDEA. I will cover many tips and tricks, some of the ways to get started, and how you can program faster with IntelliJ IDEA. So in this session, I am assuming that you already know Java very well, but you are relatively new to IntelliJ IDEA, right? With that, let's get started. Let's start with the new project. I am using IntelliJ IDEA Community Edition, which is available for free of cost. So I am choosing Java 14 here. If you don't have the JDK installed, you can download it, or if you already have installed in your machine, you can add it here. I have already installed here, so I am choosing Java 14 here, and I am choosing create project from template, which will create a temporary class with a main method. So it's a Java application, very small template with the main method. So let's give a name, demo, demo 1, and finish. So here we go. So we have the class created with the main method. So let's use our first shortcut or a live template, which is sout. Sout, here we are talking about System.out.printlns with the parameters, and as you can see, it prints the parameters. So let's run this, Control R, and I have installed a plugin called Presentation Assistant, which will show you what are the shortcuts that I am using, right? So let's remove this and start from scratch, right? So let's type class. So for that, you don't have to type class, you just can type cl, and class appears, and give a name. I'm giving main here, and to type main, you can either type main here or public static void main, psvm. So let me type psvm here, and here you go, we got the public static void main, and you already know sout now. And let me print the current class and the method name to sysout, and Control R, and you should be able to the class is missing, and Control R, and you should be able to get the result. Okay, so the next thing is the variations in System.out.printlns. So if you type sout, you will get these options. Right, so let's print a variable, right? So let's say str equal to hello world, right? And let's fix this variable name. We can create a local variable or a field or a parameter. Let's create a local variable here, and it's a string, and we are good to go. You can see that IntelliJ IDEA has already created a semicolon for you, right? So sout with the v, and we get the variable name automatically filled for you. Control R, and you can see the value getting printed here. So with this, we have learned some shortcuts. So main or psvm for main method, and we covered sout v, and there are more like sout p, etc., right? Now let's do some iteration. So to create an iteration, you can just say iter. So let's traverse this arguments, or I could choose str itself and split it by a regex, right? And let's traverse this string. So sout v, which is yes. So we got hello and world. So the shortcut we have learnt is iter. Now if I want to do this reverse iteration, I can do itar, right? So which will traverse in the reverse direction. So what I could do is I can give args, instead of args, str dot split the length of the string and then print, so that is sout of v, and the value I am printing is this will be okay. Let's print the I for now, and we can print the values also. So this is not suitable for us, so let's change this. Let's change this and try to run this now, and you can see that it has become an iteration now. Let's create a simple for loop for I is less than 10 and sout v I, right. So we got this, and let's reverse the direction and see what happens. And for this I am doing alt enter as a shortcut, right, and I can remove the braces automatically, and I can add the braces, and I can replace with for each, right. It becomes a functional programming code now, and let's see this. Yes, the same code now with the functional programming approach. Let's undo it, and we can also do for each ordered, and let's undo again, and we can do unrolling, loop unrolling. The for loop got replaced with the printlns, or you can change it to while loop, the while to a do while, and so on, right. You can keep changing them as you would like to do. So these are the essential things that you can do with your loopings, your simple for loops. You don't have to type them again. So the shortcuts you have to remember are for I, iter, reverse iter, etc., right. So these are some of the shortcuts. So let's see how easy and quick to create something non-trivial, and let's remove this unused import statements. Okay, let's get back here and say tokenize a string. So for that you have to say iter tok. Okay, so what is the shortcut? I forgot. It happens. So when you forget a shortcut, you can always do double switch double time, and you can search for things. For example, you can see ittok. Yeah, so ittok. Let's try ittok now. Ittok, and we got a string tokenizer, right. So for this string tokenizer, we have to give a string to process. So I'm going to give str, and now there's nothing called str, that's fine, and let's print the value s, and let's create a string called str, right. And what is it str has? Let's tell something like you never know what you have till you clean your room. So we have tokenized this and get the strings now. So let's do Control R, and we have got the tokens in this string. So we have written so much code so fast, right. So that's the power of shortcuts, and that's the power of these templates, the live templates that you have. Now how do you check for conditions, right? For example, let's see if you are passing the arguments or not, right? So for that I can say if condition, right? So I can check if args is equal to null, right? So I can print the value null, right? So I can make this args equal to null. So I can also do if not, which is inn. If args is not equal to null, I can say if args dot length is equal to 0, and if so, I could say that soutv plus what can we say? Let's say no args passed, right? Let's see what happens now. If it works, see, you can see that no args is passed. So how do we get this? So if n and if not null, if inn, right? So these are the things that we have covered so far for shortcuts. Now let us get rid of this whole thing and start something from scratch. Let's say I want to create a class called point, right? So let's create two variables. Now let's see the error here, because we have to set the package name to com.company and make this public, continue, and the main method is different, rename file. So the class got renamed to point, right? Now what I can do is I can do generate code for this point. So first let's create x and y as two fields. Now Cmd N, and I'll be able to generate a constructor for this. So I want a constructor with x and y, and I want a constructor which is default, which is no parameters, right? Now we got two constructors. Now let me generate the getter and setter for x and y. So again generate the equals and hash code method, and for this equal and hash code method you can choose what is to be done. If you want to consider x and y both for equals, etc., for hash code what you want to include, etc., I'm choosing the default options, and you got the proper implementation of the equals and hash code, and so on. So I can override the methods, for example the clone method, right? So let's create the main method now and try using the main method using the point object. So I am typing main now and create a new point variable. So point control space will automatically complete for you. This is called code completion. So control space is what I am doing, right? Equal to new control space point, right? And let me give 10 and 20 as the values. Now if I try to print this, it will not get printed properly because we don't have a toString method. So let's see this. So we don't have a wait, this is main method. So we have to choose, edit the configuration and change this to point, right? Okay, apply this and okay, and now let's run this, and we got this cryptic result, which is the lack of toString method. So let's generate the toString method and x and y, and here we go, run this program, and you should be able to get the correct result. That's very handy, right? So in this example we have learned two key shortcuts that you have to remember. One is Cmd N for generating these methods, the template methods, the essential methods like constructors, getters and setters, equals, hash code, clone, toString method, etc. The next one we have learnt is how do we use code completion, which is by control space to autofill. Okay, now let's see postfix templates. So what are postfix templates? So now if I want to print point, right now we are typing as soutv and point, right? So the other way to do that is point dot sout, right? And you can get the same thing. So this is called as postfix template. This is a powerful one. So let's say we can do some things like point dot if or instance, like instance of what, instance of object, or string I could say, then string of point, but here this is a error because it cannot be converted to a object, a string, right? So let me type it as object, and then it becomes object point, otherwise it becomes null. Let me try again. I think made some silly mistake here. Dot instance of type, right? So why are we getting this error here? Let's see the error. Not a statement. Okay. So we are still haven't completed this condition, right? So sout v, and this is the argument that we are trying to process, right? So yeah, all good. So here we get, so this, because point is instance of object, it is getting converted to the object and getting printed. So this is Postfix Templates, which is extremely useful and handy. Now we can also surround with some code, example some try catch statements, right? So what could go wrong here? Let's say if this is null, then what will happen, right? So let's try this, and you can see that this is null because the instance of is returning a null and we are not accessing it, right? So what we could do here is dot, let's get rid of this whole thing and store this in a variable which could be obj equal to point, and we have to declare it obj, right? Now obj dot hash code, and let's print it and see what happens now, and it throws an exception. Now it is not a proper thing to protect it with a null check. I mean, when I say null check, catch a null pointer exception, but this is useful as a demonstration exercise, not to be used for production use, right? Let's see how to protect this with a try catch statement, right? So what I want to do is surround with, so in you can choose option, command and T, right? And this is for the Windows, and you can surround your code with if else condition, while, do while, for loop, try catch finally, etc. So I am choosing try and catch and finally, and let's see what happens. Now the result will remain the same, but you can see that this is different now. So I could say, for example, e dot sout, right? So this is how you surround the code with something. So if this example is not clear, let me try to create another example for you, which is reading from console. So let us say we have scanner object. So I am going to complete this, autocomplete this, control space scanner equal to new scanner, and we are going to give system dot in. So we are reading from the input, standard input, right? Now I have to get this, let's say I want to read it in integer, and I could say scanner dot next int, right? And I could print that. Now if I give, so for example 10 or something, it will work, no problem. But if I give by mistake something else, like something written here, this will throw an exception. So I should protect this code with a try catch condition, right? And also this scanner is an object that should be released. So we can do option command T and surround with try catch finally, right? But now I chose the wrong code to surround with. So select this block of code and say try catch finally, and here you go, we have this printed. I could say enter a integer value, right, and print out that. And finally what you have to do is scanner. Oh, the scanner needs to be outside, so let's move this out. Yeah, so I moved this using shift arrows, right? So I moved this here, and now I will be able to use scanner dot close. Yep, so this should work. If I give something like 10, should work fine, but if I give something like something, then I get a proper user input error handler which it gets called, which says enter a integer value. So this is a very useful technique to surround a code with things like if condition, loops, try catch finally, etc. Now let's do another one. Let's record. Let's do some extracting methods. So how do we extract methods? So this is a code that reads an integer. So let's do extract. So read int from console. So as you can see here, the read got processed now, right? So you can, in the similar way, you can extract variable, you can extract a constant, etc. And once you have some code like this, you can play around with that. So you can invoke the refactoring menu by control T. Sorry. So a lot of options available here to play around. So I hope you found this introductory session useful. There are a lot of things that we have learned. I'll just summarize some of the things that we have learned in this covered in this session. So the first thing we have covered is main and psvm, which is useful for creating the template, the main method, and then you can use for sout, soutv, etc. for printing the values. Then for looping, you can use templates like iter, reverse iter, then fori, and for tokenizing you can say ittok, etc. For conditional checks like null checks, you can see if n, it is null check. You can if not null check, if not null. And to generate methods, template methods like constructors, default constructor, hash code, toString, etc., you can do command plus n. And another useful thing to learn is how to use postfix templates. So by postfix templates, give a variable name dot something, instead of doing something like if or val instance of string, things like that. You can just say val dot inst, and you can invoke the instant of checks. So that's postfix templates. And sometimes it's useful to surround the code with something like if conditions, looping statements, etc. For that you can do alt plus command plus t. And you can do refactoring. So control T plus T is the shortcut for invoking the refactoring menu option. And for extract menu option, you can say opt plus cmd plus m for extracting the method. You can extract variable with v here, and the same thing. So opt command v, and you can extract a parameter with Alt Command P and so on. So you can see the more such things in the refactoring menu option.